In a perfect world, you always retrieve data that's complete, correctly formatted, and perfectly mirrors the classes you have created. But as you might have realized, this is not a perfect world, and quite often data retrieved from web services, databases, or user forms come out with some unexpected value. So, get back to the countries.json file in the project's assets folder and vandalize a little bit your data. For example, remove the population from Andorra and the currency code from Afghanistan. Now run the app. As you might have expected, you get a runtime error when parsing the JSON and transforming it into a country object. And if you think about it, again, this happens because we have no values where they are expected. In other words, it's another pattern of a null error. So let's fix this. We now have two fields, population and currency code, that may or may not be available in our JSON file. And null values are not necessarily evil, so let's explicitly accept null for these two fields. As you already know, just add a question mark after the type declaration for the currency code and population fields. In this case, it would also make sense removing the late modifier. As these fields are nullable, we don't need to specify that they will be set later on. Let's also remove final, as we need to set these fields inside the constructor. Now, currency code and population are nullable. So our app works again, right? Not so fast. Run the app again. And again, you get a null error in the from.json constructor. This may seem unsettling at first, as we have explicitly made the population field nullable. But note this instruction. Here we are saying that we want to retrieve the population value as string. And null is not a string. In order to fix this, just add a question mark after the asString instruction. In this way, we are telling Flutter that we read the value at the population key as a string or null. Let's do the same for the currency code as well. Now run the app. And finally, it works. But note the population value for Afghanistan. It's null. And you generally don't want to show null to your users, right? So, get to the countries_screen.dart file, and in the listViewItemBuilder method, declare a variable called population. This takes the population value at the current country index. Now let's add a double question mark and an empty string. This instruction means that if the population value at position index in the countries list is null, the population variable will take an empty string, otherwise the value itself. The double question mark is also called null operator, or sometimes if null operator. This operator returns the expression on its left, and only if its value is null, it returns the expression on the right. In the slide, you can see a few examples of its behavior. Note that you can also chain multiple if-null operators. So, in order to complete our code for this episode, in the subtitle, let's write the population value that we have just set. And now, null has disappeared from the Afghanistan population. Much better. But the population is not very readable in the other countries. Let's fix this and see other null-aware operators in the next episode.